just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Well, no sense worrying about it now.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Yeah. Now let's get ready. Switch me on. I don't think you're crazy.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
What's up, Ghostheads? It's another episode of the Ghostheads radio show. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me, my partner in crime, you know him as a legend, Matty B.
And it's only that time. It's Miller time. And I'm telling you right now, we have a guest on today that I am so excited to talk to. His name is George. And he's an excellent guy. But what team is he with, Ted? What team is he with?
Well, I think he's with a very well-known, well-respected group. If you don't know him by now, you're going to find out for sure tonight, because tonight we're going to be talking with the Sacramento Team, and it was a no-brainer, because if you've been following us for weeks, if not months, we've all been talking about the Ghostbusters nationwide toy drive, and we just concluded it. Well, so we thought. We concluded it last Wednesday. We did a whole finale stream. We threw out some final numbers. We were all excited. We're like, congrats, success. We did it, guys. And then who comes in the clutch but the Sacramento Team? So, just to kind of reiterate what I'm trying to get at here, the Sacramento Team says, hold on a second. We're not done yet. We have some additional figures to add. And boy, did they. Because the totals we gave everybody on Wednesday of last week, we can now update, because the Sacramento Team pulled in an additional 600 items. 600 items to add to the total. So the final figures for the Ghostbusters Toy Drive, 9,600 toys, and the final dollars raised was $11,723. Massive, huge, and it's thanks to every single team out there, but also thanks to the Sacramento Team for coming in the clutch and putting in some big numbers right there at the final buzzer. It was like 3, 2, and they made it, and they swished it. So shout out to every team out there. We talked about all 40 of them last week. We had some teams on, and it's just so cool that like we were like this close to like 10,000 toys, Maddie. This close, 10,000 toys. He can't hear me. I'm gonna say it again. Maddie, we were like this close to like 10,000, my friend.
I'm having some troubles right now. I'm not hearing the audio the way that I should. But hold on, let me see if I can fix it. It's okay. We can do a troubleshooting process with the AJ Nightwing in the back. Okay, now I hear it. AJ came in, and now I hear it. Say something, Dad.
He was a magic. You hear me? Okay.
No.
You hear me? Oh no.
Oh.
Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it.
Yeah. I'm screwed. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out. Figure it out for me. But yeah, so shout out to everybody who was a part of it. Shout out to everybody who participated. Shout out to everybody who donated. Everybody who went out in the freezing weather and dropped off just bundles of toys, and donated their hard-earned money. It was incredible, and it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. I foresee a bright future for this coalition of Ghostbuster franchises, and I feel like the sky's the limit, and this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. People in the chat, Adam's in the chat saying, howdy, gents. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too, sir. We miss you guys. Hope you're doing well. Kelsey's in the chat saying, Awesome job, Ghostbusters. We all did amazing, and
Which
she's
is
not lying.
facts. And
Facts.
Kelsey's not lying, but guess I'm back in the building here. Audio is working completely fine. So sorry about the technical difficulty, but Adam, we really appreciate you joining back in. And hopefully everything went smoothly with what you had to handle there for a little while there in the Ghostbusters Northwest. And then Kelsey, we appreciate you being in as always.
Absolutely.
Um, and Ted, so I mean, what are we talking about right now? As ghost heads, what are some things that we're talking about right now? I mean, what do we?
Well, we want to, I think, first talk to this incredible Sacramento team. Am I right?
Okay. Oh yeah. I mean,
Let's do that.
if that's what you want to do, I'm
That's what I
down.
want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
get
Yeah.
to these guys. Let's get to these
Yeah.
guys. Andrew's in the chat saying it was cold at times, but the Sac team and Terror Dogs pulled through.
What is cold for
Absolutely.
Sacramento? Throw that in the chat, Andrew. What is cold for Sacramento? What is that temperature where you say it's cold now?
It's probably close to what Texas is. Like
Yeah,
55 is cold
California
for
and Texas
Texas.
are the same like babies about weather.
It's
Um,
true. It's true. I'm not even gonna shy away about it. But yeah, enough delaying. Let's bring the team on. Everybody make some noise for the Sacramento team. We got George, we got Alex, and we got Chris. What's going on, gentlemen?
Phew-wee.
We
Look at these guys.
we lost Alex.
Yeah,
Oh no.
Alex is well.
Alex, come back.
He's in the nowhere. He's in the gray space. But honestly, and I love Chris and I love Alex too. The Sacramento Ghostbusters are good guys. But do you know who I'm excited to see? George.
George of the
I'm
jungle.
a I'm a huge George guy.
Okay, who do I make the check out to?
There you go.
Well, it depends on how much you're writing it for.
Twice as much as you're worth.
So 10
Natty,
cents.
Natty
You can just flick a
D.
dime.
Oh my gosh. Wait, hold everything. Hold the
What?
presses.
What?
Nobody move.
Why?
Adam says we ended up pulling in about 200 toys and $800 worth of canned goods for our local charity. We have an update for our totals. Holy crap. That's now 9,800 toys and 11. Well, let's update the cash as
Well,
well.
so if you're gonna do cash on food, the rule of
That's
thumb is
interesting.
you do a quarter. So you do by 25%. So 25% of whatever they got in dollars would be the pounds of
Pounds?
food. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
200.
that yeah.
So that's actually 300 pounds of food total for the Ghostbusters Toy Drive. Let me update that as well. Holy
Wow.
cow.
And I'd love to hear these updates, but I'm getting a little bit of toy drive mania a little bit. I feel like I should step back from it for a second and
Oh
then
yeah.
look at what we actually did and see the total picture of it all because everything happened in such a small time frame and everything happened so rapidly that I don't think all the groups were able to report accurately what happened.
No. We definitely got most of the groups. There was just like a couple we couldn't get a hold of at the last second, but it's totally cool. I'm very happy to get them now, and here's those final totals: 9,800 toys, $11,723 worth of cash, and then 300 pounds of food, mostly thanks to the Northwest team and the Lansing team who had food drives. So bravo to those gentlemen pulling in those food. That's awesome.
Yes.
We didn't even think about that, but some people were like, "Wait a minute, we got to do food as well,"
No,
and we're like, yes, we do."
but food is important. And actually, this is something we should think about in the next toy drive. is not a toy drive, just a holiday drive. Because if you're a kid on Christmas, what's more important, heat or a toy, or food or a toy? Like, I think it's something to think about moving forward as to what's most important in the communities that we're impacting and the types of charities that we're associating with. So, because heat might be a really cool thing to have on Christmas, and that might not be the PlayStation somebody else gets. But I think there's other ways that we can work this out. So
I like it.
we'll be looking to those types of things moving forward into next year. But I'm just so excited about the damn good job that everybody did this year. Holy crap! And part of that was Sacramento. So how did you guys organize? What did you guys say you were going to do? Now it looks like the Brady Bunch. Everybody's pointing to somebody else. How did you get it together? What did you do? How did you organize your event, and what was the reason for picking it?
It was Chris. It was Chris. Chris was the one that he really stepped up. A lot of us have work, a lot of us had jobs, and we're just like, all right, if somebody can figure out, make contacts, ask, around, ask any stores, comic book shops that you might know, whoever is available, let us know. And Chris was the one that hit the ground running. So those numbers were all Chris is doing. The team, we came out, we did what we could, but he's the one that deserves the credit for the toy drive this year for our team.
Oh no, guys! It was definitely a team. He's doing
Speech.
Oh, he's being shy. He's so shy.
No, it's definitely. We on the last show, we all kind of figured that this was going to be a great thing to do, and this is what we're about, is the charity aspect of things. We dress as Ghostbusters, and and then just having that opportunity to be able to help out. It was for the kids. I mean, the kids love us, so we want to be able to we want to be able to step up and they love. And it was just a matter of getting the resources, getting the place that could sort of thing. And then Aaron, we got Alex, and then Andy, and everybody else that came around, Gina, and then George definitely with more support. Love George, everybody loves George. So and then it was just, and then friends with Lee and Kelsey, and then they're just it was a collective. I can't take all the credit for it.
Credit goes where credit's due, and the hard work that him and Aaron did.
Yeah, and then another thing that I'm thinking about for next year's toy drive is getting a fund together to get Chris some better internet. What is going on over there, Chris? But George,
I don't know. I mean, it's
All right.
So George, you've been in this space. You've been in this space for a long time,
A few years.
a number of years. And when you saw this thing come together, have you seen anything like this in your time as a Ghostbusters fan, in these spaces, in these forums, in these 4chan, whatever the medium for Ghostbusters fans to communicate with each other? Have you seen an event organized like this yet?
Well, that's a lot of time you're talking about. First of all.
well, that's important, because that's actually the point of the question, right? Have you seen anything organized like this in the time of being around?
The answer absolutely is no. I've never seen anything like this. And I have to be honest, when I first heard about this, I thought, oh yeah, we'll probably get a few hundred here and there. I did not realize the depth of the reach and the commitment that we had in our base here. And I am just really heartened and impressed by seeing what people were stepping up and doing.
It's crazy how quickly the Ghostbusters community can congeal around a problem. And we actually, as our show, we figured this out first. I would say honestly, there was a guy who followed one of our groups that we run, and he had his house burned down,
Oh,
and
Oh man.
he had two proton packs with Frank and Geek electronics in them and all these things. And the groups we were running at the time were focused around Frank and Geek mods and that sort of thing. And we were able to get Frank and Geek himself. I'm not going to say his name because he likes to kind of keep it private. But we were able to get him onto a live stream. We were able to get all of these things going. And it surprised me how quickly everybody would congeal around and say, hey, this is a legitimate story. This is someone who's struggling. He's a part of our fandom, and we're going to make sure he's right. And we got instantly Scott Chase from Cincinnati, all kinds of groups. We're sending stuff through to them. And we said, we can really freaking do something with this network that we've built from just getting franchises together. And you guys are a great example of that. And what you guys were able to put together in Sacramento is awesome. And if I would have known George was involved, I would have been. I would have been honestly. I'm the number one George boy. In fact, if I could just get a headshot of you in a signed picture, I'll hang it right here. I swear to God, I'll hang it right here if I can get George in there. But
you're not the first person who's thought about hanging me.
hey, whoa. I want to keep you alive forever. If I could just capture you with a Pokeball, I would.
By the way, I want to correct something you said about the person who had the fire and being
Yeah.
part of the fandom. Let's take out the word fandom and put it in family.
Hey,
Okay, yay!
Because we are an
I'm
extended
totally down with
family.
that. We're completely part of the family. And when Ghostbusters News picked it up, and then some other people picked it up, I thought it was an awesome thing to see how we can congeal. I think that's the word. Like the groups congeal around a problem and they solve it. And to raise this many toys and everything, I mean, I'm telling you, I've said it before in a past stream. I think Santa is polishing his resume. He might be looking for new opportunities because we've done a great job as a fandom in stepping up for this cause.
so many great comments in the chat. Andrew saying he's been in the community since the 2010s and he's never seen an event put on by multiple groups. This many multiple groups. Kelsey says, so amazing to see so many groups come together for this. Hopefully there is more that we can do in the future. And she says, what everybody already knows, everybody loves George.
Of course, how could you not?
And what did Vin Diesel say about family? Family is forever.
It's family.
Absolutely.
Why don't we
Gentlemen,
get in the car?
say what?
As long as one of us gets Vin Diesel's car, we're fine.
I'm
Oh,
down
yeah.
with that. I'm
The
down
Gran
with that.
Torino? Yeah, that'd be
Any
great.
of them.
Now we
I'm
gotta
down
call
with
Penn.
that.
Oh, yeah, we got Pendleton. We have to call him on that. Pedley.
Oh man, Chris, you talked about kind of what it meant to be a part of this and really help out, but like the sheer number of items you guys were able to just collect in the 3 weeks that we put this thing on, like what does it mean to you guys individually to kind of like comprehend just the sheer amount that is going to be going to kids in need around your community? Like it's got to feel incredible what you guys
Oh,
accomplished.
it's definitely incredible. So Aaron and Gina and I had the opportunity to the day after, so Sunday after we did the final day of the toy drive on Saturday. On Sunday we had the opportunity to go down to where Toys for Tots was distributing the toys, and we walked in there, and this place was Toy Palace, and we were like, this is amazing, and so we're like, with the different groups, not just ours, but with the different groups of people that were collecting and donating. You see a lot of what Ray says. A lot of good in the world still, and And then, you look at it and you're like, wow, I got to be a part of that. We got to be a part of that. It's like a pat on the back for everybody. And we're like, you know what? Someone's going to, some kid's going to be super happy to get this basketball. He might be the next Michael Jordan, or, the next, somebody's going to be really happy that they got this when their parents didn't have much, or Santa Claus didn't get to come. And so they're like, you know what? You look at them and you're just like, you don't look at the toys. You look at where the toys are going to go, and you're just like, wow, it's, I got to be a part of that. And that's,
I could.
for me, that's what it meant to me. And I was talking to Aaron, and sorry, he couldn't be here, but, I was talking to him, and we were like, you know what, this is what we wanted to do. This is why we, as grown men and grown women, we dress up to make, it's for the smiles. And then to top it off, I mean, not just getting the smiles to see their heroes in their outfits, they get to see, wow, this guy did this for me. These guys did this for me, and they're like Ghostbusters. So,
Yeah.
and
which is the most believable franchise of all the cosplays.
Oh, yeah.
But I agree, because I was moving over the entire weekend of Christmas. I was moving from San Antonio to Houston, so I didn't have a tree up. I didn't have the lights up that we normally do, because I'm a very festive person. So is my fiance. Very, very festive. We love to have these things up. We didn't do any of it because we were moving, and I didn't even have it Christmas Eve. And I woke up Christmas morning and just thought about everything and said, wow, you know what? I do have the holiday spirit. I do have that vibe, because it's everything that we were able to do. And if I could just share my screen here, the Ghostbusters Northwest just shared um, some of their food drive here. And just think about, this is going to feed some families here, you know?
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
Wow.
They're filling carts of food and getting everything together, and 800 pounds of food. I mean, that's an awesome thing to do. And it takes no effort really on our parts. We spend a lot of money on this gear, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
Getting a Ghostbuster
Hallelujah.
cosplay. Getting a Ghostbuster cosplay isn't a cheap thing to do. The ROI, return on investment, for those who aren't in business, is very difficult to achieve, but it's very easy when you just step out for 3 hours and have a box ready for people to drop toys into. That's how you get your ROI as a Ghostbuster. That's how
Yeah.
we achieve our goals. And so it's amazing. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate every group that was involved. It's crazy. And get ready for the school drive. The school supply drive is coming very soon. And so,
We're gonna save some teachers.
And so, as far as activity for Sacramento goes,
Mhm.
because we talk about this, and one of our goals is to get nationwide activities together to keep franchises alive. Because one of the biggest killers of franchises is we don't have enough events to do. People get tired. They put the stuff in the closet. It gets harder to pull it back out. So franchises kind of die with the lack of activity. So we want to keep things alive. For Sacramento, how does it look for you, like year to year? Are you guys usually super busy? What does that look like for you guys?
I think after Christmas, it's kind of like it slows down a bit, and then usually in the spring, in the fall, it picks up. Around Halloween time, our Facebook gets flooded with, "Can you come out to this or you come out to that?" But I think one of the things that I'm encouraging the team to do is to just kind of like poke your head out and see what's out there. There's a lot of little conventions, a lot of medium-sized conventions, but also what other things can we do to showcase all the stuff we have. Unfortunately, I was the Santa parade was
Oh God.
coming, and that was such a huge.
It was going to be huge.
It was going to be a huge event, and it just so happened the torrential downpour storm completely canceled the parade this year. And so that was heartbreaking because for as long as the team has been in existence, it was me and Andy in with our ectomobile, just the two of us driving or walking in a parade, to having this event that was going to have multiple Ghostbuster vehicles, multiple teams. We have one of our friends builds Jurassic Park vehicles. We had Pizza Planet delivery truck. We had all kinds. We had all
Nice.
kinds of vehicles that were going to be in this parade and not just showcase Ghostbusters,
And the other
but
group was going to join us.
yeah, we had our the Northern California Ghostbusters out of Ukiah, Chris Nance and his team. You know, they're we always send out an invite to them. Come out, come down, and see if it's worth the drive. And they're like, "We're gonna go. We got a hotel room booked. We're gonna come join you guys." And the rain like killed it.
Yeah.
But I sent out an application. There's a Mardi Gras parade. Hopefully we can get our team in it so that we can participate. Yeah, so I'm waiting for the Mardi Gras parade people to let us know. That way we can just take the Santa parade and just turn it into that. It's called City of Trees in Sacramento. It's a family friendly Mardi Gras parade, but I want our team to be able to be in that. I'm asking the team, I'm like, if you know any conventions that might want us to come out, let them know. And definitely any of the charity aspect. Because, it's easy to put on a suit and try to get an invite to a convention, but that's kind of like self-gratifying.
Sure.
It's like, does that mean that we're being Ghostbusters so that we can get free access to events?
Yeah.
No, the toy drive was what kind of has to put it all in perspective. Don't do
Yep.
it for yourself, do it for others.
Right.
So, one of the things I noticed when we were collecting toys, is not just the smiles of the people that were donating. People would come up, oh, let me give you some cash. I'm like, no. We're in front of a Five Below. Go inside and just buy something and then put it in the box,
That was
And
the
then
idea. As a movie.
we had people coming in with one toy, dropping it off with their shopping, somebody with a bag. And then at one point, there was a couple people that showed up with full shopping carts and they were just dumping the toys in our boxes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. We saw that, and I remember standing next to Alex seeing that, and it was just like, I didn't have words for that. I was just like, this lady and her husband had this huge cart. You got balls, you got dolls and things like that, and coloring books. I'm like, all that in the cart into the box.
Yeah, and nothing nothing at all against Salvation Santa. Salvation Santa is a big pull. You expect to see him certain times of year. Salvation Santa, he's out there ringing the bell, but nothing quite hits like a couple of guys in jumpsuits who live in your neighborhood, who interact with you and your kids, who you see from time to time, who you're friends with their couple friends whose kids are in school, or know people like that. It just hits different. It hits different than a Spider-Man or Superman. It just hits a little bit different when there's an ecto out front and there's guys in jumpsuits and they're just standing outside in the cold, relative to where you live, the cold, and driving toys. And so that's awesome. And that leads into Christopher Robin here. Ted, do you have that comment?
Yeah. Chris Robinson says, I've done plenty of volunteerism in my life, but the impact of doing it as a Ghostbuster really multiplies the effect in an amazing way. It's more than people just loving Ghostbusters. It's more than the sum of its parts, and he can't quite explain it. Yeah, and
Ghostbusters hits different. It
it
hits different.
absolutely does. It absolutely does. And I there's a couple of things to kind of talk about real quick. Number one, whoever runs Five Below, the CEO, whatever, I feel like there's like a really solid partnership like in the works here, because like half the teams at least posted up outside of a Five Below and had tremendous success. And Five Below, if you're listening, or somebody tagged them in the chat, if you're listening, like let's make this like a long-term relationship here. Like I feel like there's a lot we can do.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it makes total sense too, because And this is not to shame any. This is not to shame the dollar store by any means. But Five Below is extremely affordable, like the dollar store. But the quality of toys
Oh
is
yeah.
way higher. And so if you're looking for bang for your buck, you know, hit that Five Below because there's like exclusive toys. Like me and Ted, we don't just do Ghostbuster stuff. We do nerd stuff all over the place, and we know a lot of toy collectors, and a lot of them go to Five Below and they're
They
like,
go
I
to Five
can't believe
Below.
this was here.
Yeah. It's so crazy that you guys had that experience. So that's so amazing. I didn't even ask. I didn't know you guys were at Five Below, but yeah, I would guess half the teams across this toy drive campaign posted up outside of a Five Below, or if they didn't post up at a Five Below at first, they would go the second or third week
Mhm.
just because they weren't doing as well initially, and their success really turned there for them. So Five Below, if you're listening, you're doing a great job, and we appreciate the hell out of you guys. Just allowing teams to go out there and do some good. Not everybody's willing to do that. I know some teams got pushback from stores here and there, but yeah, it's a great thing. And yeah. Um,
And what
Alex,
you're
you
saying
were
is, Ted, is that that logo would really look good in the bottom right hand portion of this screen. Is that what you're saying?
absolutely sponsored by Five Below. Alex, I think you were earlier talking about just the community itself, really coming out and surprising the hell out of you guys. What is that? Do you guys kind of like expect that all at first, or just what was the means that you think really got the word out, or really got people to take notice? Like, what was that? What was those little things that you guys were doing to help spread the awareness about your toy drive, and getting more people to kind of get near you guys?
For me, once Chris was like, "We're gonna be at this location," I just flooded our Facebook and social media with it, and but that only reaches so far. It's just the physical presence, if somebody going to the store and all of a sudden seeing, a couple guys in jumpsuits. And one of the things I took notice on the Saturday when our final day when we were doing it was people were just driving by. We went in the Five Below was in a nicer part of town. It was the last Saturday right before Christmas. We were between, it was a Five Below, there was like a Ross, there's a Target, Bath and Body Works, all in the same aisle. So there was going to be a lot of traffic. That's like the location in that part of town that's like the shopping center, the
Yeah.
district. So we just were in the great place at the great time, and that's people were driving by, going from one shop to the other, seeing an ectomobile. They stopped, like, "What are you guys doing?" And we're like, "Toy Drive," and they jump out of the car.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it's like, okay, yeah, let me stop, let me take picture with you. My husband loved Ghostbusters, or they're like, "Oh, my kid just saw the Afterlife movie and he loved it."
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then actually Five Below actually has Ghostbuster stuff. I got a lot. And Chris found a whole bunch of Grubersons. What did you do with
Yeah.
those, Chris?
Wait, what?
The Grubersons? Yeah, no, we bought them all and we put them in the box. We had two on the table, and then like once we had a bell. So whenever somebody dropped something, we rang a bell, and then once we ran out of Grubersons, we just started ringing bells. But the thing is that we were putting Grubersons in the box. Just we bought them all.
I had no idea. Mine had no Grubersons or anything like that. I had just some other small merch items that they had, and I picked those up. But yeah, that would have been cool to see those things. You also mentioned earlier that, like, I think you said something about kind of poking your head out, meaning like, take some risks, network a little bit. pick up the phone, make some calls. And I think, and this really does go for all teams, because it's not something that we've been doing, but it's something that other teams have caught on pretty quickly about, is that it's never too early to like set up a contact with a local restaurant,
No.
a local business, to talk to them about either events or raising funds, like opportunities to kind of have different events or to raise those funds. As a great example, I talk about the OKC team way too much, but they reached out to a restaurant, and the restaurant had a percentage of the sales between like a window donated to their toy drive. And it's like, why not? Schools do that, youth clubs do that, sports teams do that. Why can't Ghostbuster groups, set up like a fundraising event, and those funds, not just in December, but throughout the year, you collect, and then
Mhm.
by the time you have a toy drive, a food drive, or whatever, you already have sort of a pool, and you already have those connections, that you've established to kind of make things easier on yourself. So seriously, any team out there, if you haven't already thought about it, figure out what stores, fast food joints, whoever can help do a fundraiser event, how it works. Go out there, raise some money, even if it's $100. That's $100 in January you didn't have before, and those funds get used towards a toy drive at
Mhm.
the end of the year. It makes it kind of easier, and it sets up your group for success. So, like Alex, I think is one who said it. Kind of, poke your head out, do a little bit more networking, researching, pick up the phone, make some calls. It's never really too early to kind of, make those things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you start doing events with other groups, with charities, with locations, then that's a connection you made. George has a really good connection with our fairy tale town, the local children's amusement park. So, it's like, if they ever need us, one of the things, if we can't volunteer, monetarily or collect toys, our time is worth
Yeah.
money. And, if we're willing to take time off work, if we're willing to, donate our time by helping run an event or be a part of an event or promote an event, that works. Years ago, we were promoting like a convention, and then we asked them, like, what can we do to create maybe a little bit more charity part of this? And they're like, well, we can do a percent, a couple dollars off admission if somebody bring canned food. But that means they might be losing a little bit of money overall, but what they're going to gain is a little bit more credibility or a little bit more respect or something. So, you know, put a cause, CAUSE cause into our cosplay is like what was one of the things I always think about.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed when talking to a lot of these groups who were doing this for the first time was just a little bit of lack of confidence. And having been in sales for a long time, I am not afraid to hear a no, right? And so I think a lot of the groups could be inspired by what you were just saying there about just reach out to a local business, pitch the idea of putting a box outside, and you'd be surprised how many yeses you get if you're not afraid to take a no. Because what is the loss for a business in doing that?
Yeah.
Especially a local one. We saw a lot of success with local comic book shops that don't have to deal with corporate up structures, right? And so
Mhm.
the decision maker is there. They could say, "Hey, we wouldn't mind if you drove some business into us during the holiday times." It's a
No, for
great way to
sure.
go.
Absolutely.
Especially in October. Everybody wants Ghostbusters in October.
Cause and cosplay will now be trademarked by Alex. If that's not already on a shirt, it needs to be. Bravo, Alex. That's wonderful.
In just a moment, she prints a lot of our stuff. She made some of our ads for the Toys for Tots drive.
Oh,
And had most of our members on it, and then and that got around. I emailed it to everybody at work, so some of my coworkers came out and donated, and then you know, my wife's actually a teacher out in Carmichael, so like while we were talking about the school things, I just thought about that. So but yeah, no, it's really it's just incredible. I mean, we need to actually, yeah, Alex, we need to coin that cosplay instead of cosplay, we're like cosplay.
Put the cause
there you go.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
I love it.
While I was gone, you just
Yes.
made a pun. You just made a pun of cause, CAUSE, play.
Hmm.
Alex, actually, Facebook, shut this stream down right now. I'm stealing this idea. It's stolen already. That is incredibly good idea, Alex.
Yeah, it's
LLC
so awesome.
that.
You know, it's something that I've always thought of. You know, one of the things that we all need to do is just try to take chances. You know, take a risk. The worst some business or group organization is going to say is like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, Chris tried asking a whole bunch of businesses before one finally said yes. You know, not everybody's going to reach out to us. So sometimes we need to go out and be like, hey, do you want us to come out to this event? Do you want us to help you guys out? What can we do to help you? You know, and, you know, some places will be like, no, thank you. And others will be like, yes, bring everybody and let's make something happen.
And the
We
key
also
is,
made another
though,
thing.
for each no, to not drop your mana, right? Don't take that as a slight to your confidence, your ability, or the reason for your cause. A lot of people are very afraid of that first no, especially, and let's be honest about the community, in all of our nerd communities. Not everyone's an introvert. Not everyone's an extrovert, I mean. Most are introverts and don't have the greatest social skills sometimes. And so getting a rejection can be a very difficult thing to deal with. And it's time to use this cause that you care about so much to get over that fear. And do not be afraid of the no, because it doesn't matter. And it doesn't take away from your cause. It doesn't take away from the reason why you're doing it. Nothing affects your ability to do so if it's just a no. Um, and so I love that message. And cosplay really works into that. Alex, I'm going to email you right after this. I think we have something to go because it's really about an inner confidence. And names like that give people confidence. When it's that striking and it mean you can see what it means so well, it really translates to a community. And so I'd love to work with you on that and give some confidence to these folks. I mean, the Ghostbusters had to have confidence to climb those stairs to go face Gozer. They had to have confidence to scam into a business that ended up working out. They had to have confidence all the way down. Each and every Ghostbuster had to have confidence at some point, and it's important that every Ghostbuster fan finds some way to do that too.
Andrew says, "Why be afraid? Each of us is carrying an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on our backs."
It's true.
Facts.
True.
And Scott says, when a business says no, we always look at it as their loss. And it's definitely the loss of whoever Chris talked to originally, who said no. And instead, like, Five Below is getting carts filled with their merchandise out the door. So, yeah, it's definitely the loss of anybody who says no. Take it as not only confidence, but kind of a selling point for the future. If you're talking to a business, let them know, like, we did this last year. This was how many items we collected from those places. That could be you this time around. It may or may not be, but at least it's not going to hurt. Businesses should understand, like, we're not negatively impacting their bottom dollar. If anything, the only way to go is up. It's only a positive impact or a positive influence on what they're doing. But if they can't figure that out, we can't help them. So yeah, it's totally fine. Uh, Kelsey says, "I ain't afraid of no ghosts, but hearing that, no,
Nose are
absolutely.
scarier than ghosts to a lot of people. It's
Oh, for
true.
sure, for sure.
Oh no, rejection. Oh my gosh. What am I gonna do? Lansing Ghostbusters still wants his Tobin Spirit Guide.
Uh-oh.
Kevin.
Oh
Kevin's a great friend of the show, an awesome guy. But the thing about Tobin Spirit Guides, and Ted can tell you this himself, it has lives of their own. I mean, didn't yours fall just recently out of
Yeah,
nowhere?
I posted the video. It was family and I were all downstairs, probably having dinner, and I hear like a thump, and I'm like, I have no idea what that could have been. It's not like I have stuff hanging from the walls that could fall over. So I come upstairs into my studio, and everything is fine except for this Tobin Spirit Guide. It's replica. It's not even a real thing. It's just a replica, and it's lying on the floor. And this stand is solid. I have no idea how that could have happened. So beware of your Tobin Spirit Guides. Some of them might have a mind of their own.
Yeah.
George, Chris, Alex, I want to ask you guys, what does this event or just your experience kind of do for your team going forward? What expectations are you putting on yourselves for the future? I want everybody to hear what you guys are feeling and what you guys are holding yourselves to going forward.
Well, for me, uh, this kind of proves that, when all of us have a common goal, we can all work together. And that is one of the things that I'm really trying hard to want to encourage is the community to come together. I want more Ghostbuster teams in at least in the Northern California area to get along and to work together. Yes, let's work together. Let's bust some ghosts together. We reached out to our friends in the north and Northern California Ghostbusters. Hopefully, we can get them back down here for another event that actually is going to come to fruition.
It's gonna happen.
Chris had his team, and we not only wanted to work with them, they wanted to become part of our team, and so we got together. And then people like George over here, George walked up to us at an event and was like, I've been a Ghostbuster since 1984. I've always loved Ghostbusters. Let me be, let me take pictures of you. Let's talk. And then now he's a part of our team. And so, see, George is wearing his original uniform. He could tell you a little about that.
Hey, so cool.
Handmade, the emblem, handmade, and
and me.
my original proton pack from
Oh wow!
from 1985.
Wow.
Honestly, that is so incredibly cool that it should be turned into like a trap mod where like one Ghostbuster has like a trap on their back, and then it looks kind of like that, and then the other Buster is wrangling into it. That is awesome, George.
Of
And
course, it's all done by memory because we didn't have the video to stop at the time. We had to see
Yeah.
the movie multiple times to memorize it.
yeah,
Very nice. I
but
feel
you
like
caught the spirit.
I feel like
You
I'm
caught
looking
you
at
caught the spirit. That's a joke, Ted.
I feel like I'm looking at a holy relic or something. I'm getting a little teary eyed. I'm like,
Are you
oh my
calling me a
god.
relic?
No.
Or George or the pack?
George belongs in a museum.
Should
Is-
we
is- is
should
that-
we
is that
declare
just calling him old?
I think we need to declare George as like the first major fan of Ghostbusters. It just feels right. The first Ghostbuster cosplayer. I'm not trying to offend anybody else out there, but like he's the OG. I
He's
love it.
he's an
Yeah.
original. He's the original Sacramento Ghostbusters.
Well, and I
we
still
just
think
we just made it legit for him.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
actually
that's
what we
awesome.
call him. That's his call sign is OG, original Ghostbuster.
that's right.
Can I ask you guys a question? I think this is actually, I'm going to debut this question tonight, but I want to ask everybody moving forward a little bit, because having interviewed so many chapters, this question is a little bit divided amongst the fandom. Um, and it is, how many of you guys believe in ghosts and are interested in Ghostbusters because you have a paranormal interest, or you're interested in it because you think it's a funny movie and because it's a franchise? So I'll start so everybody feels comfortable answering. I do not believe in ghosts. I have no interest in the paranormal whatsoever. I think Ghostbusters is an incredible franchise, a funny movie, and I really rally behind that. I understand anybody else's point of view, though. So, where do you guys split on that? Are you guys paranormal guys, or do you just love the movies?
I believe in ghosts. I've seen things. I've seen something right up here in this wall on the ceiling one time. Maybe it was my sleep paralysis demon. It could have been something else. Um, but I do believe in the paranormal. You know, I've seen some things happen. You know, I've experienced it at different places. One of the things, the reason like I love Ghostbusters is you can't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. And because when I was a kid, I was. I saw things. I have had paranormal experiences, and it terrified me. And then I watched Ghostbusters, and it's like, what do I have to be afraid of? You know, these guys are out there busting ghosts. And then the love of the Ghostbusters came from my dad. You know, it's like he loved Ghostbusters. During Halloween, he would play the Ghostbusters theme song, on full blast on speakers. So when I was trick or treating around the neighborhood, I could hear the song playing. Uh, so the love of the Ghostbusters comes from my dad, my family, but it also comes from the fact that I was scared of ghosts, and this made me feel like stronger. It made me feel like I don't have to be afraid of them because there's nothing they can do to hurt me because I can bust them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chris, George, what about you guys?
Well, let me put it this way. I like to think of myself as a very logical person. And so, they say everything happens for a reason. So I like to think, what's the reason for that? I remember one time when this person asked me to fix their sliding door. And so I kept pulling the door closed. And finally I got down on my hands and knees and I said, well, let's clean up the crack here. Let's do this. And she said, I've asked a dozen people to help me with the door, and you're the first person to fix it. I said, because I like to find out what the cause of things are, what causes things to happen. And if you get to the root of all things, it all should make sense. But with that being said, just when you have things figured out, as Alex would attest, something happens and you don't know what. We all joke about how Google and Alexa is listening to us. And so you're looking on your computer and suddenly like, why am I getting these pop-up ads? Oh yeah, because I've been searching for those things. But how many times have you been like thinking about a song and a moment later it's on the radio? There's no way the radio knew that you were thinking about that.
George, not to cut you off, but you're fucking me up right now. You're spitting truth. Go back to it, George.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, are we psychically connected to things that are there other connections besides our five senses that we're not aware of? That bond us. And I would call that
one of the things I remembered when I was a kid was just laying down. Oops.
You're good. We can hear you.
Laying down and losing his Wi-Fi, I think.
Alex, come back to us.
Okay.
You're good.
It looks like you're good.
Am I here?
Chris, you look like you're fine. Yeah.
So what I was just saying was one of the things I remember as a kid was like trying to go to bed and laying there and all of a sudden everything just getting really quiet, and then you could almost hear something. You could almost hear a voice, and it could be coincidence. It could have been somebody outside. It could have been a TV near the room. But in your mind as a kid, it could be a ghost. Something's whispering to you in the dark. So there's always a logical explanation, but just sometimes there isn't any. And so you just have, for me, it could be paranormal just means, outside of the normal. That's what,
Yeah.
like para means, like extra or outside. So it's just something that's a little abnormal.
Yeah, and being able to access things in a particular way, like I believe in that for sure. Like I said, I don't believe in ghosts per se, but accessing certain ways of communicating or seeing things differently. For example, I this is very silly. I had a interview with James Jude Courtney. He played Michael Myers in the last two Halloween films, and so I was interviewing and I was talking to him. And I thought nothing about it the whole time of him playing Michael Myers. The whole time I talked to him, I didn't think about Michael Myers. For the next 4 nights, I had nightmares of James Jude Courtney and like Michael Myers and like a killing scenario. I was very afraid, and so I literally had to walk outside and like I literally inspected my house from the outside in, checking every closet and everything, just so my brain could say, you know what, that was just crazy. You were thinking, so I could just go back to sleep. So I think all of us interpret those things a little bit differently. Was that a real scenario I was experiencing? I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Nobody does. Or was it something paranormal I was experiencing? Who knows, right? And that's kind of the beauty of why Ghostbusters as a cosplay and as a franchise, I think hits so hard for so many demographics because adults believe in ghosts and kids believe in ghosts.
Mhm.
And some of them stop believing in ghosts as they grow into adulthood. Some of them don't. But all of them know Superman can't fly. They all know that Spider-Man can't actually shoot webs. They know certain things, even at very young ages. And that's part of the reason why I think we're having such a good influx right now. And the business is booming. Maybe the dead are rising from the grave.
Yeah. Probably so.
But you know what I mean? Like it's interesting to think about all of that together. And I love that question of like, are you in this because you like the paranormal, or are you just a fan of the comedy or the writing or whatever it might be?
Manny
I think
knows.
I'm all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, no. Well, I feel like I'm all of the above because I definitely I love movies. Big movie nut. Both my wife and I we do believe in paranormal, the ghosts and things like that. I'm a I feel like when I'm into like horror movies and things, it's more like I'm more into the ghost aspect of it than the zombie or the slasher or things like that. It's just I'm not into the gore, but the mystery of how someone's relative from 50 years ago can show up in the middle of your house and then stuff like that. And I really love there's a set of books called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Albert Schwartz. Those are mostly ghosts, and I'm like, I love reading them. I listen to them all the time, and then also Ghostly Tales for Ghastly Kids. All those things are just for me fascinating because those things could actually happen. Sorry, that was my wife. That wasn't a but and then so it's that, and then the comedy of the Ghostbusters, the camaraderie, the community, like I was saying, they're a bunch of buddies. That they went to school together. They have that history, and then they go into business, and then the business starts booming because that stuff's actually happening. And then when it comes down to like the fandom and things like that, you look at stuff that you would normally do, like Star Wars or what's another big one, Star Trek. You're doing it like when you're a Ghostbuster, you don't walk around by yourself as a Ghostbuster. It's more fun when you're walking around with 3, 4, 10 of you guys all over the place. And so one of the things that we do that's fun is that we'll just all cluster up, and the next thing you know, we're doing a little spook check. We're walking around with PKE meters. People are like looking at us like, what are you doing in a museum? And I'm like, and this is the Crocker, and this is like half of it is a really cultural museum. The other half is like this is about the whole Crocker experience. So we're going around in the house version of it, and we're like, fake PKE meters, but then we're really spooking people. And look at that. It's a bit of history there with George.
Hey, that's fantastic.
George and all his teachers dressing up for Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And then, and like with the fandom and the community, we like I was going to say earlier, while we were doing plugs for Five Below and everything, we actually made a new friend. We made, apart from being partnered up with Five Below, we also have this opportunity that we're very crazy about, and these guys love us. So
Absolutely.
just another plug there, and it was great because Five Below was donating to Toys for Tots. So I said, hey, look, are you doing donations and things like that? I said, yeah, we're doing Toys for Tots. I said, do you have an outlet for that, or can we, we're with the Sacramento Ghostbusters. Can we help you out here? And so that turned into a very lovely relationship. And then we stumbled upon the guy who collects toys. And there's that. And at the same time, yeah, no, it's all about, for me, mainly it's the community of things. I mean, apart from the stuff that we love, you get to meet people that you get to connect with, and I guess, for lack of better terms, we're a bunch of guys here. You get to fall in love with this bunch of people, and so I met Andy and Alex, George. I met George online. He was asking me how I slimed the proton packs, and I was like, oh, I'll tell you if you tell me how you lit that up, because he had this nice little tube that glowed blue. And then he told me about the Top Ghostbusters, and then there's that, and that's kind of how we, apart from with Kevin and Aaron, we were like, yeah, we should really get in on this, and let's take a look at this. They invited us out for the first time, and then we met everybody. One guy that doesn't get a lot of attention as far as I've heard is our friend Clark. I made a new friend, and so I met him, and I saw him twice in the whole time so far I've been with the group, and he's just this very nice, quiet guy. And then you get to see Alex and Andy and George regularly, Lee and all of them, and they're just a bunch of buddies. And it's really nice to have these guys. Hey, what are we gonna do next? We show up in a suit, and then everybody's still hanging out together. And we're like, okay, Fairy Tale Town. We all showed up there, and you saw the smiles on kids' faces, and we're like, that's what it's about. So the Toy Drive was definitely an opportunity we wanted to get in on, and and we did that all as a group, and that, to me, that's the most amazing thing.
Absolutely. And you talk about all of these relationships sort of happening one after another. Call it
Yeah.
fate, call it luck, call it karma. But I believe everything happens for a reason. And George, I'm pick on you a little bit, because when you said that earlier, that's been my entire mantra since 1984, since I heard that for the first time. It's like my life mantra has been that ever since Pete Venkman said that on the big screen. Is that kind of where you got it too, or did you always have that kind of a feeling, and Ghostbusters the movie just kind of solidified it for you, or is Pete Venkman also the source of your beliefs as well?
I think it solidified it for me. I've always been one of those, like, why did it happen kind of person. And then when I saw the movie, I said, hey, a kindred spirit, somebody who understands.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like these other kindred spirits down over here.
And George, on that point, and I'm not trying to be an ageist here whatsoever, but as the senior member on the live stream right now, what was it like when you watched 84 in theaters for the first time? Like when Ghostbusters first came out, and you had all these other movies and everything else, and obviously this is the first of its kind, right, in a way. How did that feel watching that in theaters? And I would ask the same question to someone who saw A New Hope for the first time, in the 70s. Or like, how did that change everything as far as cinema goes, and like your way of looking at movies?
Well, first of all, it wasn't a movie that fit into a pigeonhole, into one specific genre. It wasn't just a comedy. It wasn't Groundhog Day. It wasn't a sci-fi movie. It wasn't a horror movie. It wasn't a documentary. It was a little bit of everything. In fact, I'll go back to another analogy. It's kind of like everyone's family. There's the comedian, there's the serious one, there's the one you don't talk about. No, I'm not talking about Chris here.
It's the drunk uncle, yeah.
Yeah, but they're all connected, and it was kind of mind-boggling. I don't know how many times we spilled the popcorn from the jump scares in the movie, but I'm like Chris. I'm a real movie buff. I love movies way back when, but I had never seen anything like that before. It was so many different things without specifically trying to be a jack of all trades. It just covered so many genres.
And it did it sort of flawlessly in a way, with a bit of dry humor that I feel was lost somewhere in that time. That ability to work a very serious script as a joke in the satire, sort of dry humor way, has been kind of lost in cinema recently. Have you thought that even like Afterlife or any other movie, have you felt like even the sequel, Ghostbusters 2, equaled that level of dry humor in any way?
I wouldn't say it equaled it. I think they tried, and they were more successful than the previous 1.5 movies before it. You know? I think one of the problems, and we see it with a lot of current movies, is like with comedy, they kind of force it. Oh yeah, let's throw in a little slapstick. Let's throw in an unexpected thing and wait for the audience to laugh. Or dramas, they try to put in a little bit too much tension, a little bit too much mystery. This just happened.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that it's one of those things they did not realize what they had unleashed. They did not realize it at all. They just thought,
Yeah.
this is going to be a good movie. Well, we'll probably do okay.
It's just so funny because, like, the only way that I could really describe it is it's subtlety of the outrageous. It just found a way to be so out of the box and out of its element and completely ridiculous, but also fitting into playing to the straight man.
Yeah.
You know, and like it did such a really good job of that. And there's a lot of movies in the '80s I feel that way about, but Ghostbusters is one of those that really stands out, where Ivan Reitman was just really in his bag.
Well,
And whoever,
I look at Ghostbusters and like Back to the Future, and you look back in hindsight and you think, could you have made any scene different and better? I don't think so.
Not at all.
I think they pretty much nailed it.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a triple double of basketball or something. Like it's an insane feat that Ivan pulled off in that first movie, and it's obviously spawned a lot of love for all of us. And I'll continue to watch anything with the No Ghost logo. To 2016, all of them. I don't care. If it's got a No Ghost logo, I'm watching it, and I'm going to be a fan of it forever. But it's completely based on something subtly outrageous in the best way it could possibly be. And I just go ahead.
Let me just say this though, because we've seen it done with other movies. Please don't anyone ever redo the movie with updated special effects and CGI. No, don't do that.
All right.
Don't Star Wars.
Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down with that. I don't need Star Wars level effects in Ghostbusters.
Because we all know how we feel about that.
Oh sure, for sure. George, you mentioned something about nobody knew that it was going to be as big as it was. I hope I don't get this quote wrong. Ernie Hudson himself said nobody on set knew what it was going to turn into except for one man, and that one man was Bill Murray. For whatever reason, Bill Murray was sure this was going to be the biggest thing since Star Wars, and he kept telling people that. And the rumor, or I don't know if it's been proven by now, but the rumor was that Bill Murray just never took a look at a script. Everything that he delivered on screen was just him riffing in the moment, and nobody told him otherwise, because it was just like gold moment after gold moment after gold moment. And I guess eventually they're just like, let's just stay out of his way. And that's also when he was on set, because again, from Ernie Hudson, they would take the police cruisers and go joyriding, or they would take like the motorcycles
Oh, God.
and they would take off and they wouldn't come back until he felt like it. there was also a lot of waiting around because I think the documentary told us they didn't even have the rights to Ghostbusters while they were in production. So at times it was a lot of kind of waiting around to see like what they could film and what they couldn't film. So yeah, it's a wild movie that in any other universe never would have made it. Um, but you had just such talented people all around, and destiny was definitely at hand because out of all the obstacles they faced and the challenges they were met with, they still put it out. So it's quite remarkable that it turned out to what it did.
And to add to what you just said, considering what is happening to the DC universe this month, do you think Ghostbusters, the first time they said, "Oh, we're $5 over budget," they would have let it go on? I mean,
No.
don't you think there's so many times that nowadays they would have said, "Cut, we're not going to make this movie.
Yeah.
We're not."
There's no way in hell that this movie would have been made today.
In this current whatever climate.
No way. And you know, and people do have a little bit more faith in ad lib comedians. Will Ferrell's done a very good job in this space. But the way that Bill Murray was able to, and not all of the jokes were first take. It was you know, they went through the scene a couple of times and they picked the one that worked. It was a charcuterie board of great comedic timing. It was well placed. It was curated. They had a lot of scenes and a lot of takes to choose from, and the ones that they chose, because I know I would love to see every one of the outtakes, because I bet a lot of those Bill Murray jokes were a lot different and maybe a lot raunchier and like way more over the top. But from directing to acting and casting, even though they had a much different cast in mind in the beginning, the eventual cast they ended up with, plus the editing team, I think really pulled this whole thing together. And I'm hoping that they could get back to that a little bit. I kind of like give me some dry humor, some raw CG. You know, it doesn't. Not everything has to be perfect. Just give me that dry humor again.
Andrew says, I've only seen Ghostbusters 2 on the big screen when it came out. I'm still waiting for them to bring it back to the big screen. I've seen GB1 in every available format. He also says that it could have been called Ghost Smashers. Thank God it didn't. And he also says Bill Murray was spicy back in the day. Yeah,
That's true.
definitely. I
And
also
Andrew,
I also was going to
go ahead.
say, Sony, if you're watching, Ghost Core, if you're watching, take at least one playbook out of Star Wars. When this next film comes out, when Firehouse drops in theaters, there's not going to be any shortage of Ghostbuster fans who would not do a back to back to back marathon of 1, 2, and 3 prior to the release of 4. And I'm telling you that as a person who sat through 6 Star Wars movies leading up to the release of Episode 7. Do the math. I was there at the theater at 4:30 in the morning. So yes, we will do it in a heartbeat. Please put in all 3 films back to back to back the day of. It doesn't have to be for the weekend. Just do it for those of us who absolutely would sit through 3 Ghostbuster films back to back to back. Please and thank you.
And I may be out of pocket here, but I believe that Peacock, the streaming channel, is going to be having Ghostbusters 1 and 2 streaming this month. No, I say this month. January. They're going to have both of them streaming. And also, Ghostbusters 2 actually does play a lot on Freeform channel as well. It's cheaper than the title of playing the original one, so a lot of times they'll pick Ghostbusters 2 as a random comedy to play. I see it often on cable, so if you cut the cord, I'm sorry, but if you want to sign back up for a cable service, you know, there's plenty of ways to watch Ghostbusters 2. I see that actually more than Ghostbusters 1, I think.
Oh, for sure.
I've seen Ghostbusters 1 so many times in the movie theaters. but not Ghostbusters 2. So I'm a little jealous with
Have
Andrew.
you seen the symphony yet? The where they do the live symphony?
We were invited to that.
Andy did.
We were invited, and Andrew and a couple, he went. Andrew and Lee from our team, they've been commenting throughout the night. They drove down to Fresno, which is like 4 hours away from here. Joined up with the Fresno Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters in that area, and attended a live performance with the orchestra. So
Yeah,
was-
I saw it in Portland, Oregon, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever done. And I think that actually there's a lot of movies though that I think could really capitalize on that. But the Ghostbusters and they didn't just do like the songs in between, like they were doing every sound effect almost.
that's
Oh.
cool.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
I was
It was good.
lucky enough to go to the Ghostbuster Fan Fest, and so we saw it at the theater with with the cast. I think Dan Aykroyd was there, and then Ernie Hudson and Ivan Reitman, Jason Reitman, and it was really cool because even though the screen was really small and a lot of us were standing, how they added lights and smoke effects to the movie. So I thought that was really great. We did go see Ghostbusters Afterlife in the was it the 4DX? So where the seats move.
Rumble.
Yeah.
Oh
The
man.
smoke and the fog blowing on you.
So was it you, George, that was able to get Natoma, the movie, one of the movie theaters,
Right,
to
so
have
we
us
got into
come?
that.
Yeah, and so I think like on
That
our
was a-
Facebook we have pictures from
The chase scene was fun.
we inflated our 30-foot Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, so he was standing in front of the sign. It was blocking the actual like sign where they have all the names of the movies. And then we got to go inside. We had the Ectomobile outside. People were taking pictures, and then we got to go inside. We got to sit in the seats that moved around, and seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife in that format, it like was amazing because like the opening scene when Egon sits
The
in the
truck.
chair and you see that smoke roll in,
Oh no.
yeah. So the 4DX theater, they have the fog machines. They're pumping the fog into the theater, and so you're seeing that roll in while it happens on the screen. You see the flashing strobe lights and everything. So, and then the movie, the moving of the seats during the car chase scenes, it was incredible. And my fiance, she was with me. She's part of our team too. She actually said it made the movie scary to her because the jump scenes was intensified by the actuators jabbing you in the back on those chairs.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so seeing it, I know they have D-box theaters. Was it Regal they have the 4DX. So seeing like the movie in any of those special formats took the whole experience to a whole new level. So I'm not, I was never able to see the original Ghostbusters, when it originally came out, or Ghostbusters 2 when it came out. It was always like something that's always existed in my life on
I know.
VHSs and DVDs. But and I love Ghostbusters. Answer the Call. It was a funny and entertaining movie for what it was, but I didn't have that experience as if I was a child seeing it for the first time, which is like what I missed. So seeing Afterlife in that sort of way, it was like a dream come true. You not only get to see the movie, you feel the movie. You're experiencing it, in real life, and it was amazing.
Andy, we want to back up a little bit. We were actually there. Remember, we saw it first at the IMAX. So we had an IMAX theater that we saw it at 2 days before, and it was an IMAX theater with a 6-story tall screen. So it was really immersive, and you could feel in your bones every vibration and every sound.
I love it. I saw Afterlife. My first showing was the exact same. There's one like solid IMAX screen in town where the sound system is turned up to 11 and the screen is crystal clear, but it's the best quality sound in any theater that I've been to. So just hearing every rumble, every single detail in the themes of the music and the soundtrack. It's just so it's just another level. And like you said, it's so loud. The bass is turned up so much that you kind of feel it's almost like seeing it in like a 4D or a D box chair. It's just like moving around so much. So yeah, no, I agree. It makes you part of the movie, and it's just so cool. I love it. I can't wait to see Firehouse in a similar format. So yeah,
We will
looking
see
forward to it.
Firehouse.
Here's a picture of our the Afterlife Ecto in front of the IMAX theater.
So cool.
So that's the vehicle that we had in the front. People were able to sit in the jump seat, take pictures. So that whole experience was so much fun. And then, like you said, just a few days later, we got to go to the another theater, and there's our Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So he's 30 feet tall. So he's actually taller than the sign. What's lit up behind him is the sign that says all the names of the movies. So he's actually bigger than that. At the IMAX theater, what was funny was we inflated the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man inside the theater, inside the lobby area.
Oh wow.
So the thing was so huge inside the lobby. You know, this is a picture of it from the second story.
Oh wow.
So he's it's like a rotunda. So he's standing on the first floor, and his little head's poking through the second floor. So that made for a lot of good photos. So
That's
so it's
so
one
cool.
so it's one of the fun things. Being able to experience the movie in like once in a lifetime opportunities.
Well, you have to remember, Alec. You have to remember the most fun we had after the IMAX thing. We had the two ectomobiles out there in front of the theater, and there was a couple of police out there who came over and was checking us out. We thought, are we in trouble? And they wanted to take pictures with our cars and like that. And then they said, would you guys like to roll it and we'll give you an escort?
Yeah.
And we did. We sirens and lights going. They blocked off the streets downtown. They blocked off the Tower Bridge.
Let's run some red lights.
We did. We ran the red lights. They blocked off the street in front of the state capitol so that we could post our pictures in front of it.
That's awesome. We're also I'm a big proponent of, and something I've tried to bring to San Antonio a little bit. I'm going to keep going in Yellow Rose here in Houston. But after an event, just pull up onto a random business and just sit down and eat, have a drink in full gear. And it's surprising about how many people will come up to you, the types of people, demographics of people, and it really opens you up. And then we had these restaurants like really excited every time that we would show up. They would be incredibly pumped. So it's cool. I love that idea. If I could have ever had a police escort though, out of one of those events, that would have been really cool. You have in front of you, it's like the final, what do they call it? The final fuck yeah scene of all time. Is that scene there with hey, let's run some red lights, and then you hear the sirens start going, and then they pull up. That's it. That's incredible.
Well, the fun thing was, so they took us, down these streets. They blocked off some side streets so that we could go through. We were running red lights. And then going back to the theater, we went past all these bars, and people were out there on the sidewalk just cheering us like nobody. Oh, there it goes.
So this is some firsthand photos from inside the Ecto. There's a couple photos from couple videos that I recorded from our chase vehicle. So this is kind of like we're inside the Ecto. The police are actually behind us at one point, and then we're running red lights. This is downtown Sacramento, so the state capitol is there. State capitol is patrolled by California Highway Patrol, so that's a different jurisdiction. So we had Sacramento City Police escorting us through downtown area. So at one point we're running red lights. The police are actually behind us at one point. And we're driving by the state police, and they're just kind of like, they look and see us, and then they're about ready to turn on their lights, to pull us over. And then, the police, there's the police in front of us finally. That was after the CHP was like, what are you guys doing? They're
This
like,
is
no,
an
no, no, we
incredible
got it.
video. This is
They're like, we got
incredible.
And so we're like,
Oh
we
my
lost our
God.
police escort because the 2 police officers had to
With the
pull
big
up next to
capital.
each other and, talk and be like, no, 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 they're okay. They're with us. That's on our way to the state capitol. That was great. The police say, all right, we're going to close the streets off. You have 30 seconds, not like a minute, not 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Jump out of the vehicles, take the pictures, get back inside. Let's go. They only let us do it twice. We blocked off the bridge, took photos in front of the Tower Bridge, which is on our logo, and then we jumped out, took the pictures in front of the state capitol, which is also on our logo, and then go. Here's us coming back to the theater, and this is where where everybody, you could hear people cheering, the whistling, because that's the people that were hitting up the bars. This is the
Alex,
whole-
Alex, I gotta be honest. I might cry right now. Like I'm right on the edge of crying. That must have felt awesome.
So this is back to the theater, and there's like a whole crowd of people. There's an outdoor restaurant, and so people were taking flashing lights, taking pictures. That's the police is escorting us into the ground because this is a walkway only, no cars allowed. So he came in first, and there, there's some other people taking photos. One of our team members, recording. Kids going nuts, family. See, this is the guy. You can see us rolling in. 10,000 pounds. It goes several feet to a gallon, and transmission was shot. The engine was shot. It was running hot. It was burning oil. But we managed to get it to run and drive the entire I think it was 2-3 miles. I think he
It was on
said
death's door.
he lost. There's our photo in front of the Capitol. I think that 2 miles burned through 5 gallons of gas.
Oh my god.
That is insane, guys. And when I say I'm not I know a lot of times I joke around a little bit, and I'm sarcastic by nature, but I'm not being sarcastic in any way, shape, or form when I say that video just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Literally, you're getting a police escort in an Ecto through the town, and then the way the YouTube video had just the overlay of saving the day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
That is good promo.
Our buddy Jay made that video. He has it. We posted on Facebook. He's in film school. Our Air Force vet. We love you, Jay. He's living the dream out there, making movies. But he did that he pieced all that together for us. It was an amazing experience. Chris is wearing our patch, so you could show the patch real quick. So the yellow on the left is the Tower Bridge that you saw, and on the white part on the right is the state capitol.
That's awesome.
Me and Andy, we designed that patch together. He did the face, he did the body, and I actually put the 2 icons into the no ghost ring. So being able to take our photos with the 2 icons that we have on our patch was incredible. Getting a police escort once in a lifetime, maybe twice. Who knows? The next movie's coming out. Right now that Ectomobile is going to be going through a retrofit, so it's going to be out of commission for probably this for most of this upcoming year. Mike Penlay, he's going to be taking the thing apart. I think he has some new transmission, some engine for it. He's going to be doing some body work. So anybody on our team has some spare time that's to help him out. He's definitely going to be needing some wrench hours, man hours, and some sweat to get that thing up and running. But our dream is to be able to.
What part of California is he in?
He's in Sacramento. He's in the suburbs of Sacramento. He's a police officer for the Sac County Sheriff. So it's his dream was to build the Ectomobile, and then he reached out to us and was like, "I have this vehicle. Can I join your team? This is what I got to offer." And we're like, "Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Yes, you can.
Yes, of course."
And one of the great stories about this Ectomobile is this is a barn find, just
Oh
like
my god.
in Afterlife. And the story was he trailered it down from, was it Oregon, Washington, something like that. And he was working on it. Then the trailer and teaser started coming out for Afterlife, and he saw the gunner seat, goes, stop. And he decided to redo everything so it would be screen accurate.
Mhm.
And knowing Michael, if he sees any teasers from a firehouse that shows any major things,
He's gonna change it.
right, he will do it.
Yeah.
See, it's a 61. It's not a 59, but it's a 61 millimeter. So the door was a suicide door like that.
Yeah.
So that's not how it is on the 50 or on the 59s. So
Right.
right off the bat, that's work that was already done. He said there's some body work, some modifications, and he did the front and the back end were different, but he found the 59 parts to swap it. So he's
Yeah.
it's a 61 to 59 conversion. But one of the things that was great was he didn't have to do to convert the suicide door. It's already there. He just installed, the gunner seat to it. And so the gunner seat is like one of the photo ops that we have. People come in, they can sit on the gunner seat, they can hold the neutrino wand and take pictures.
That's so
And
cool.
if you go to Michael's, yard, and by the way, his wife is the most understanding person in the world. He has 4 Cadillacs in his backyard that he has taken apart to build that.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
2 of those Cadillacs are hearses.
And isn't
Oh,
it
yeah,
man.
yours.
isn't it interesting? Wasn't the original Ectomobile, because when it rolled in, it had sirens on it. Wasn't the original Ectomobile an ambulance?
Yeah, it's an ambulance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I think it wasn't until the 61 or 60 year that they started seeing the market for hearses. They started making hearses, and that's when the suicide doors came in. But it's just super interesting how much they look alike and how nobody can tell the difference. Nobody on the street is going to be able to say, "Oh, that's not an Ecto. That's a 59, or that's a
Michael knows.
61."
61.
Well,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, who cares? It looks incredibly good. They're rare now. How many are left? Does anybody
Oh
know?
my God. No idea. Not many.
I don't know, but Mike has one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mike
That's
Mike
that-
Mike has one, and the many that are still left, a lot of those folks are like Cadillac millimeter purists, and they've renovated, they've remodeled, they've turned
they
it
don't want
into,
anything to do with the Ghostbusters
yeah,
film.
they think it's blasphemy that you want to turn into an Ecto. Some of them are just purists for millimeters, and they just want to leave it as is. So yeah, good luck trying to convince them to let you buy it off of them.
No, it's all good.
That's all good. You guys, it looks fantastic, and that video is one of a kind. I'm sure that's your childhood dreams in a video right there. Some of you guys have been waiting for those moments. It's so spectacular. It's amazing.
My childhood dream was lived thanks to George. The shortest, smallest person was supposed to go and help load and unload the vehicle, and I got to sit in the driver's seat and pump the gas and everything. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
so my next dream, Mike, if you're listening, I wanna run that route, driver's seat.
I'm pretty sure if you put the hours into building it, he'll let you drive it.
Oh no, I'm showing up on the weekends. Yeah.
during that run to the Capitol and back and forth, I was bouncing around in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to ride inside of it. I was in our Ecto R4 Andes, our like chase vehicle, and it was a little bit more of a comfier ride because I'm afraid of getting tetanus inside the Ecto. But,
You had such a great view.
it was a great view from behind too, and then seeing all the people just as we drove by.
So awesome. So awesome. Sacramento team. What else can we say? You guys came up big, as many teams did, and we were pleasantly surprised when you guys had additional items to include into the final numbers of the nationwide Ghostbusters Toy Drive. You guys deserve everything. We appreciate you guys so damn much. You know, you guys already have a great team, but I'm going to tell you again, you're a wonderful team. You're so awesome. We're so glad that you guys joined this campaign, and we look forward to many, 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 many more um, causes and
Cosplay.
campaigns for the cosplay with you and your team. Everybody in the chat, show some love to the Sacramento team. Thanks again to Chris, Alex, and the OG himself, the legend, George, for joining us. And congrats again on just a tremendous, incredible toy drive that you guys put on. And look forward to many, many more of these campaigns with you, like I already mentioned. So appreciate y'all for joining us. Thanks again so much. We'll talk to you,
Thanks for
gentlemen,
having
very
us.
soon, guys. Awesome.
Anytime you want us on, just let us know.
Absolutely, George. I'll talk to you soon, bud. I love George.
We all love George. I mean, he's the guy.
I'm gonna make actually our next Ghostheads radio merch is just gonna say Big George guy. I'm a big George guy.
Okay, Chris.
Original George.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys once again. Have a great night, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Sacramento.
Well, and
Fantastic.
look, then there was two.
That
That was a great conversation. We're kind of getting back to our business. We talked about doing that, of just sort of talking shop and hanging out with some Ghostbusters franchises. I think they could expect a little bit more of that here in the upcoming year.
Speaking of which, before we end the show, a couple of housekeeping duties. I just want to make sure that everybody's completely aware of. Number one, our buddy over at Extraplasm, he's not done yet. He's not done. If you're watching right now, this is the key takeaway right here. Your opportunity to donate to the Starlight fundraising organization. If you don't know about it, I'll tell you about it in a second. Your opportunity to donate to a fantastic cause is still available from the Extraplasm podcast, good buddy of ours, and he's doing a charity giveaway. Grand prize, a Hasbro RC RTV Ghost Trap. A first runner up is the Hasbro Ectoplasm Lab Play set, and the second runner up gets a signed an autograph item from Mark Brian Wilson, who is the puppeteer for Slimer. So not only can you help out a great cause, but you will have an opportunity to win one of these fantastic items. And this is all benefiting the Starlight Children's Foundation. If you haven't already heard about it, I've talked about it before, but the Starlight Foundation is doing a crowd fundraiser for hospital gowns for kids who want to dress up like a Ghostbuster. They are Ghostbuster themed hospital gowns, and every single dollar going towards this fundraiser is going to be raised in order to make those Ghostbuster themed hospital gowns for kids. Is there any better cause right now than something like that? Making putting a smile on a kid's face, giving them the confidence, making them feel like a hero by putting on a hospital gown that looks like a Ghostbuster flight suit. It's tremendous. So to donate, visit donate.starlight.org/extraplasm and leave your Instagram or Twitter handle in the comments of your donation form. That's how you're going to get entered. So please, please,
Yeah.
please do that.
And if you don't know Extraplasm yet, but you watch this show, we have an episode with him. So go to his Instagram page, Extraplasm. Just type it in, Extra PLASM, and you can catch all the links to where you can get his podcast. It's on most major sites, and we have an episode on there as well. So go check him out. Great guy, the Starlight Foundation, an incredible cause. And so definitely get out there and do what you can. Why not? We got a couple of days left in this year. Make the most of them. Make the most of them. Do your thing.
Absolutely. And one other item that I promised this team I would share. This is from the Ectoforce Florida group. This was part of what they wanted to share for the Ghostbusters nationwide toy drive. So I'm going to share it now. Maddie, let me know if you can hear it. I want to make sure that you're able to hear it.
All right. Yep, we're good.
Sweet.
Hey, Tyler with Ectoforce of Florida here. We're representing the Treasure Coast division of Ectoforce. I'm here with E-Man and Raven. This is the best time of year for Ectoforce. Yes, of course, all the events that we do throughout the year, supporting various different charities across the state of Florida, being all over the state of Florida. And I'm proud to say, officially 33 members strong, from Tallahassee to Miami, from the Treasure Coast to Tampa. You have a little bit of Ectoforce all over the state of Florida, making an impact for our communities everywhere. But what you're looking at is a contribution of everybody that's come together and supported Ectoforce through the entire year. And what we're so proud to announce is we have a little over 400 toys. And this was in collaboration of collection donations as well as cash donations that we've collected throughout the year. And this is probably the best, if not the best, part of what we do. Again, there's so many different things that we do for the communities, but it's just so warm to my heart personally. I know the rest of these teams' hearts that we're able to make these contributions and be a part of Toys for Tots. As you may know, Toys for Tots has been around for a very, very long time. And being a partner of them is not only empowering, but it also allows us to strive to be a better group as well. So we applaud Toys for Tots, especially St. Lucie County Toys for Tots. Can we bring somebody in here real quick? How about both? Yeah, come on in, both of you. Come on. I am standing next to Virginia Howell and Jonathan Dodson. This is a very small piece of the team that is within these four walls of Toys for Tots right now, sorting through toys and doing this great work for St. Lucie County. We applaud them. We thank you so much for everything that you do for our communities. And we look so forward to continuing to do more together as one. And at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. Not just putting smiles on faces, but doing something that we're all passionate about, which is helping one another and loving one another and caring about our communities as one. So thank you so much, everybody that supported Ectoforce. Thank you so much for everybody that supported Toys for Tots.
Yes, thank you, community.
God bless, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Is this guy running for office or what? I don't know his name, but if you could send it to me later, Ted. This guy is the future of America, maybe.
Yeah, I think we need to make sure he runs for some sort of office for sure.
Yeah.
Let me, I'll lower it there and we can just watch the video while we talk about it. Yeah, no, this group, like many groups, just killed it. Look at this.
That.
Look at this. That's what I
Ted.
call a Fill the Ecto event.
And how about those buzzwords? I think that for all the franchises who would listen to this moving forward and wondering how to do better, I noticed a lot of high traffic and high donation activity around events with the tagline, Fill the Ecto. That seemed to hit for whatever reason. And it gave a challenge to the people around. And most of the times they're pretty large vehicles. So that adds into a lot of toys. But how about what's his name? Do you know his
Damien.
name?
Yeah, Damien.
Damien. Okay. Is Dominguez?
Golden. Damien Golden.
Okay. Either way, so he is like obviously your most ideal leader ever. He knows how to work the politics. He knows how to phrase things in a way that makes people want to be involved, and knows how to get things together. If Damon decides to run for office, I will apply for citizenship in whatever city or township that he's in, and I will give a vote there. Look at that! Look at those toys, and they're rolling them out in buggies.
Absolutely.
Look at that! That's a lot of toys, man. That's awesome. It's so cool. I feel like this episode we've been blessed with a lot of ecto video watching, which is something a rabbit hole I haven't dived in on YouTube in quite some time, but I used to pretty often. So that's a lot of good ecto content for an episode. We had the saving the day from the Sacramento Ghostbusters rolling with the police escort to an ecto filled with toys from the Ecto Force of Florida. Awesome.
Tremendous. It's astonishing, you know? It's it's fantastic. And there's been so many good things said, not only by us, but said from, leaders of these groups. I go back to Nathan Dean. Shout out Nathan, wherever you're at. Um, just how inspirational and how moving this whole experience was for a lot of teams, his included. Um, for us, when we talked about doing this for the first time, when we were talking to either Cincinnati or Circle City early on, it was just like not on a whim, but it was just like this could be a good thing. And I don't think we understood how much of a good thing it was gonna be. And it's really cool. It's really
Yeah, but
cool that
that's
almost
that's a good point, though, Ted. Like,
10,000 toys later, 11 almost $12,000 raised.
like, like to the point of it wasn't on a whim. You're right. I mean, we manifested something. So we just threw something out into the universe, talking to people who knew this was a good idea. Maybe it could work later. What it was just a manifestation, and it was just pulling an idea and putting it into the universe and letting the universe deal with it the way that it does. And typically, if you put a little bit of effort behind something that does good, then it's going to work out, And it's just a matter of taking that first step and saying, we're going to put it out there. I'm going to give a public challenge to myself. I'm going to have social accountability and say, I think that I can do this. I can accomplish this. And setting out to see what you can do. And then knowing the whole time that you can't fail because any one thing that happened from there would have
Yeah.
been a win. If one toy was donated, it would have been a win. What's the price on a kid being happy on Christmas? Just one kid. It's invaluable. And so when it got to the point that it did, it was definitely a little overwhelming at first of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like this silly little snowball we started rolling down a hill has impacted thousands of children nationwide. And my only takeaway from this is, how do I do more?
For sure. For sure. I would also encourage every single team that was a part of this, every single team that might not have had the chance to be a part of it. Some teams had to back out for all very good reasons. We weren't going to force anybody to do anything that they weren't comfortable with or that they felt they weren't going to succeed in. But picture what almost 10,000 toys and $12,000 and 300 pounds of food. Picture what that will do to the communities that we all live in across the country. Like how much good that does. How brighter Christmas was and will be for a lot of families, thousands of families across the country this year. And
And the
it's
variety of causes. The variety of causes.
Yeah.
I can't think of one demographic that wasn't hit or impacted by. We had some people giving to old folks homes. We had some people giving to single mothers. We had some people giving to foster clinics. We had some people giving to um, just general charities for folks who might be in that lower middle class, that middle class tier that they love to put us into. I trust me, I'm not judging anyone by any means. I'm just saying that I think that people across a broad spectrum were impacted by this, and that's the beauty of keeping it with the community. We're not going to give you a thing to that you have to force your community into. What impacts your community the most? What do you care about? What do you want to see changes in your community? And then using these thousands of dollars that we spent on all this stuff to just put it on and be a billboard for good. And that's just kind of what it is. It's so simple, and I hope that we can increase, and I hope that the chapters involved this year. It seems like we've had a great reception of wanting to be involved, but I just hope that spreads into the network, and those teams that weren't involved before could come in and see what it's all about, because it was a lot of fun, Ted. I'm excited to talk about and other things, but it's really hard to get off this topic, and I don't want to gloat. But I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the show. I'm proud of everybody involved.
I almost want to I almost want to say like it it was it was maybe destiny or fate, because when we sat in these chairs every single week and we were meeting teams for the first time, you and I would say to each other the same thing after every show. Damn, that team was cool. Or
Yeah.
damn, that leader was cool. Or man, what a great group. And it's almost, I don't want to say it's too easy, but it was just like we met so many great teams that had already done so many great things. And so like just everybody now pointing their neutrino wands at the same target.
Crossing the streams.
Everybody crossing the streams, baby. That's all it took. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't we didn't have this master plan. We weren't coming up with a magical blueprint. We just had great people. We had the Scott Chases. Yeah, I see you, Scott. We had the Nathan Deans. We
The
had
Paxton
the
Chrissies, the Bryce
Paxtons.
News.
We had the Justin Wrights, and they're one person out of like their entire teams filled with great members that all want the same thing. They all want to do the most good they can wherever they live. And every single week we met people like that. And every single week you and I would say like, "Damn, those people were cool." And it's just like, yeah, how what was what was going to happen? Like nothing else was going to happen other than like they were all going to step up. They were all going to motivate each other. They were all going to kill it. And we're close to 10,000 toys, $12,000, 300 pounds of food. It's amazing. Jamie in the chat, another fantastic individual. Ghosted Ray is the only place I come for business and pleasure.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's awesome, Jamie, and we love you. Report All Ghosts. Check out Report All Ghosts on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook. He's definitely keep it going over there. But he
One of the
does
best.
report.
One of
He
the
does
best.
report mostly as Jamie Hodges from the Virginia Ghostbusters. So big shout out to Jamie, and all the people who watch the show. How crazy is it to think that? Oh boy! Instead of just trying to manufacture topics, we'll just sit down and act like we're in franchises. Like literally, like what's a big franchise? Burger King, for example. If a bunch of employees from Burger King ended up at the same table somewhere, they would talk about Burger King and the things that go along with it. So if Ghostbusters is a franchise, it kind of works the same way. Like it's like you can talk shop and everybody kind of goes through the same things, or cities might be different. certain group politics are different, just like every store in any franchise. And so it's just funny how though it's for charity and it's not a real life thing, it functions very much like a franchise of anything else. It's incredible to watch this group go at it.
Absolutely. You and I, before the show started, we were going to talk about like everything that we had done this year, or some of our favorite moments and
Yeah,
whatnot. But like, there is no better moment than this. The
right.
parades, the appearances, the conventions, like none of that, none of that really uh compares to like all of this right now. 3
For
weeks,
sure.
3 weeks of like, you should have seen how many flyers I was sharing, tagging every city across the country, like hashtagging everywhere from like um I don't know, Sacramento all the way to Florida, to Detroit, to New York, just trying to help out as much as possible. Other teams also getting into the mix, sharing flyers, sharing ads, sharing links. Like, it was a collective joint effort. It was a lot of positive energy all being put out by a number of groups and a number of teams. And so whether your team contributed, you know, 50 toys or 500 toys, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody's effort amounted to something. Everybody's effort was a part of the success of this campaign. And going forward, we're going to need that same spirit, that same motivation, that same confidence, that same mentality, because this shouldn't be the end. This shouldn't be the last thing that we do as members of this community. And every group that you and I talked to, they all said the same thing. We're ready. We're ready for what's next. We want to do more. We've already set goals for ourselves. And it's inspiring to hear that from every single team that we talked to over the last 4 weeks now. So there will be a time when we all must answer the call again, and
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what this coalition of teams does the next time around. It's going to
for
be
sure.
truly inspirational.
And another thing that I want to point out about this drive that I think is important to know, um, this is with no marketing budget. This is with no official accreditation from any of the studios or Ghost Corps or anybody involved. And I'm not shaming them for not being a part of it. I'm just saying that this is a grassroots organization. We did that much with with nothing, just the goodwill of people. I think that in order to grow it, and I want this to be a community effort, putting some more money behind the promotion of it, um, and that sort of thing next year, as far as the holiday drive goes,
Yeah,
is a good thing to do. And the best way to support, and this is not a shameless plug. See the shirt I'm wearing? If you're a fan of the show, go to the event and grab one of the shirts. Ted and I have never split a check from anything that has come off of this. We have everything that we've ever done or gained or earned goes directly back into the business. So you're not enriching us. We have our own lives. We're not going to be millionaires. We're not going to have a Ferrari. That's not the goal here. We just want to have fun with our families, and we want to do good for people in our community. And by supporting us and supporting the show, it's going to give us more resources to be able to really push this to the next level as far as charity efforts go in the future. So just a group message while we're doing house cleaning.
absolutely. Um, Jamie, always being Jamie. It's got to be a few drops of sweet humanity left in this burnt out berg. The community found a way to mobilize it.
I swear he has like the biggest like magic 8 ball ever. Jamie's the best at this. Like he shakes this big magic 8 ball and it just comes up with the Ghostbusters quote, and it fits every single time. So shout out to Jamie.
Shout
There's
out to
got to
Jamie.
be a few drops of sweet humanity left in this burned out Berg.
Shout out to Jamie, man. Um, Facebook won't let me purchase stars. Boo, Facebook.
Well, they canceled us
Boo,
because
Facebook.
we're doing too good.
There you go.
They're like, oh, this we got to slow these guys down. They're putting the meter on. But you can support us. Buy a shirt, Scott. Buy a shirt.
And I will say, the last thing about our own chapter is that we were going to stop collecting toys last week, but I think I mentioned this on our show. Um, I went to go pick up the box, and the box was overflowing. And thanks to everybody in the San Antonio area who've donated toys to the cause, to the Ghostbusters Toy Drive. And instead of taking the box, I said, "Let me make some more room." So I emptied half the box and I left it there. And we're gonna continue on until I guess people stop donating. And people have been calling the comic book shop. I'm gonna plug them right now. Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy, the Alamo Ranch location on the northwest side of town. They get phone calls to their store, people asking, "Is it too late to donate toys to the Ghostbusters Toy Drive?" And I'm just like, no, 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 it's not too late. As long as they keep getting calls and getting toys, we're gonna leave the box. The organization that we're supporting still today is the Child Advocates of San Antonio. They're a wonderful organization, and we're not going to put a cap on the amount of toys that we donate to them, as long as the toys keep coming in. So we'll be continuing
So,
to make
so Ted,
appearances
so you're saying that we're just doing a toy drive for forever?
forever.
An infinite toy drive has been spawned.
Infinite Toy Drive. It's not infinite, but we were planning on donating everything so far.
Hmm.
And the organization, they're having a big event in January, and these toys were going to be distributed at that
Oh
event.
yeah.
And so instead of stopping early, now we're just going to get closer to that January event, and we're going to see how many toys still come in
That's
through that
awesome.
time. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would hate it if there was just a Ghostbusters, Ghostheads Radio, Ghostbusters San Antonio box out year round, and people just felt the
Hey,
need to drop toys into it. Ain't
well,
nothing wrong with that, Ted.
nothing wrong with that. And Alex said it earlier. He said, poke your head out, make some calls, do some networking. A lot of other teams do that. I already talked about OKC earlier. They're doing that. So if your team wants to get a head start, make those calls, talk to businesses, talk to organizations. What can you do between now and November to set up or test out different fundraising events, toy drive events? You don't have to do it all in 3 weeks. That was our plan, because last year we tried to do it all in 1 week, and
Mm.
1 week was good, but it could be better. So we did
Yeah,
it we tried it for 3 weeks. But that's not to say that your team can't just spread it out over the year, and put a little bit less stress on everybody, because you're kind of building towards the end instead of just having to all do it at once. I think there's no wrong answers. However it works for you, however you guys do it and it's working, continue it. Don't let us change your mind. But if you're looking to potentially change it up, just pick up the phone, start making some calls. Not everybody told Justin Wright yes. He had to keep making calls until he got a yes answer. Not everybody told Chris from Sacramento yes. He kept calling until he got the right answer, until he got a yes.
Scott Chase
Scott Chase, absolutely.
and
It's
Rob from our group.
Rob from our group. Yep, for
They're
sure.
always in constant outreach. It is you have to sort of run a business, and you have to look at it that way. You have to check your email a couple of times a day. You have to respond to things pretty quickly when they come in. It's just like running a job if you want to be a leader of a franchise. And I think that the groups that really succeed, the people who are running the groups, there's usually more than one. There's a collective of people with access, and every email is responded to, whether it's a yes or a no. Everything is always done because sometimes you don't live in a huge town. You know, you can burn through a phone book pretty quick if your franchise lasts for 4 years. So you have to take every opportunity that you can get and run with it and treat it like a business, and then you'll be successful. It just you have to respond to everything, and you have to reach out for everything too.
Scotty says conventions, appearances throughout the year is the best plan. Another thing Sacramento talked about was like we do conventions, but those aren't the best for charity and giving. And then I haven't thought about it until I talked with the Los Angeles group a few weeks ago, but they are collecting toys and they're raising funds for their toy drive throughout the year at conventions. So it's like, yeah, why can't we actually use those things to benefit the causes that we're supporting? So if you haven't
Well,
thought about it,
you can,
yeah,
but you're right. This is an important topic, Ted. So when we talk about conventions is one of those places where it's a lot of people have selfish intent, and I don't mean this in a super negative way. I'm just saying selfish intent. So most people want to show up to a convention to either dress up as something they want to dress as to get the attention that they need, or they're coming to buy something that they intend to buy or something that they want to for their fandom, or they came to meet a celebrity there. And all of these things that I'm talking about cost a lot of money. That's just how conventions run. So it's difficult to get donations in those situations, but your team members have to be in a way where it's not, oh, yeah, we'll turn around and take a picture. Because then you're basically just a cosplayer like everybody else at the convention, except for you have a table you can sit at. And so you have to come up with ways to make money. Photo ops is one that me and Ted have been talking about a lot too. I see a lot of groups doing really well with that. Um, but even just people in your team just actively asking for donations, have a QR code set up onto your thing. One or two members of your team comfortable enough to say, "Hey, we're raising money for this donation. We would love it if you would participate. We'll get a picture with to get a picture with the Ghostbusters. You just send $1, send $1 to the QR code." And that's how you really can turn conventions into money. Other than that, it's very difficult because most people who come to convention are not coming there to get a picture with the local Ghostbusters team. They came with a lot of different intentions in mind of where they were going to spend their money. But if you get $1 out of every one of them, then you've done a damn good job, didn't you?
hey, absolutely.
So
I think there's no wrong answer, right? There's no wrong answer. If you are wondering, should we ask for donations at a convention? Scott Chase said photo op donations. You take a photo with the team, you don't have to pay us, but if you donate $1, if you donate $5, it's going towards our toy drive at the end of the year. And he says it's also great when he busts out the Stay Puft costume. Yeah, absolutely. Give it a shot. If you make an appearance at an event, a store function, or something like that, and they ask, do we pay you guys or whatever? If you don't take payment, SATX, we don't take payments, but we do take donations. We take donations to the charities that we support. So consider doing that. Everything that you do could benefit a cause or a charity that your group is already involved with. And it doesn't have to be our charity, doesn't have to be anything else that anybody tells you. It could be something that your team is already passionate about, something that you guys are already doing. Give it a shot. See what happens. There's no wrong answers. But if you're looking to try and make things a little easier on your team, there's no too soon of a time to start, prepping for your holiday toy drive or anything else. 2022 has been quite the year.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It's been a roller coaster of a ride. Lots of highs. It's been tremendous. We thank every single person who has joined us on a stream, every single team, everybody who's left a comment, who's donated stars, who's purchased apparel. It's been quite a ride and quite a journey, and I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
very excited to see what next year brings. Matt's excited as well. We want to thank everybody. Happy holidays, happy New Year. It would not have happened at all this way without every single person joining us every single week, and for all these teams joining us for the 2022 Ghostbusters Toy Drive campaign. You guys made this a tremendous success. We can't thank you guys enough, and we're stoked. We're stoked for what the future may hold.
It's
Maddie B?
it's incredibly cool. Um, Everything about it is cool. Everything about it feels good. Everything about it. And if you guys are fans of this show, tune in tomorrow. We're doing a special edition of the Countdown City Geekcast, where we are going to be doing a year in review and talking about all of our favorite movies and TV shows released from the year. This hasn't only been, it's our first year, so it's obviously our biggest year for Ghostheads Radio, but the Geekcast had its biggest year this year as well, and Ted's been running that for a very, very, very long time, not to show his age, but Ted's been at this for years, and 2022 has been quite the year for the Geekcast, and so we would love it if everyone tuned in tomorrow to our live stream, the Countdown City Geekcast year in review live. we're going at 9.
I believe so. 9 or 9:30. 9. I'll do 9.
Let's do 9, because
We'll do
it's going to
9.
go a long time. So we're gonna go 9. So tune in with us tomorrow. I can't wait to see you guys there as well. Thank you for an incredible year, Ghostheads. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for everyone who participated in the toy drive, and we'll see you in 2023, baby. Let's get it going.
I get to do this one more time before the end of the year. For the Ghostheads Radio, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Shout out once more to the Sacramento team for joining us. Shout out to every single team that joined us this year and who joined the campaign. Couldn't have gone better, in my opinion. But next year, we're shooting for the moon. And with me, as always, my partner in crime, my buddy, and yours, the one and only Maddie B.
And I'm stealing this from Jamie. I'm going to leave you guys with this. There's got to be a few drops of sweet humanity left in this burned out burg, baby. Love you guys. See you in 2023.
Take it easy, folks.